When we moved into a beautiful new modern house, which was not matched by its garden. Essentially we had a rectangle of lawn with a strange bank dipping down at the end of the garden and a few mature trees. So it was a bit soulless and uninteresting. The main concerns were at the bottom of the bank. We were overlooked by some housing, so we wanted to do some green screening to try and improve that. Also to make it interesting in terms of structure and depth and variety. And as a family with two teenage boys, we also wanted to leave enough space for them to be able to enjoy the garden as well as ourselves. I did a bit of research on the internet, but I also had one or two friends and colleagues who'd used Barry before and they recommended him. I was very keen to include a number of things in the garden. Firstly, I like the idea of having some kind of 3D structure. I like the idea of a pergola, ideally in oak, to create some interest in part of the garden. We'd come from a house which had a large area of fruit cage and where we could grow vegetables, etc. So it was important to me to have some sort of space where we could continue to do that and to disguise the bare fences. In terms of the design and the design process, Barry came initially for a consultation and we chatted through things in general. We then decided to commission him and he came back and chatted through things in more depth, took on board those ideas, went away and came back a couple of weeks later. The design pretty much as we went ahead actually. He then filled it in with planting plans and a bit more detail, and he came up with very detailed technical information for the contractors. We felt pretty involved in the design process, mainly through discussion. He used the two-dimensional plans, which were very colourful. In addition, it was very helpful to have Barry's 3D programme where we were able to effectively walk around the garden and get a feeling for how it would feel in space from different parts of the garden. And my children were particularly good at showing me how that worked. I did find it helpful to have Barry oversee the construction side of the work. Essentially, he was the one with the overall vision of how things should be, and he is accustomed to liaising with construction workers and the different contractors involved. And I found that very helpful to keep things on track and to check things and to redo things where they weren't quite up to scratch. The planting, initially Barry and I sat down and talked about a few plants that I liked and he made suggestions. And he then came up with a planting plan with this fairly naturalistic style, which I found interesting and unusual. In terms of the planting, Barry did the planting, he did everything, and he sourced the plants from different nurseries. He likes to go and assess each plant himself so that then he doesn't use mail order. He took me on one occasion to one of the commercial nurseries, which I really enjoyed, and we were able to select a few plants while I was there. I'm delighted with it. It looks beautiful. It's been much admired. We have achieved essentially all our targets, our goals, and it's a lovely place to be. It's been like adding, a couple of extra rooms to the house. I particularly like being able to walk around the garden and stop in various places. I've enjoyed the raised beds, and I love the pergola and I love the espaliered fruit trees which are part of its walls. We very much enjoy using the garden. We like to eat outside. It's been a beautiful summer. In spite of the work going on in the early summer, we've still been able to use the garden towards the end. The children have been playing table tennis and badminton, and we just enjoy being in it. And I'm really pleased that we took on a designer and that we had a plan that we worked towards and executed. So I would definitely recommend Barry's services to friends.